Steve, we've got many things to talk about, but firstly, I'd like you to defend the 1980s music.
Oh, I think 1980s music was so innovative, and I mean people like the Pet Shop Boys, the most successful band ever, came out in the 80s. Fantastic West End Girls, a marvellous piece of music. Another band here was that I like, the Corgis, another one, fantastic. Everybody's got to learn sometime. I mean, there's so much good about the 1980s, and people actually thought about the music they were making then. If you bring it into the modern day, no, they've lost the way, I think. And again, with the 60s, I don't think was a. But real 1980s really changed music. It really did, and all the bands like Level 42, Spandau Ballet. I mean, they all made good, and they were good musicians. They were fantastic musicians.
So people would say, you're wrong, it's all cheesy music with big hair. You could disagree.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I think people like, as I say, Level 42, Spandau Ballet, Duran, okay, might not be the music of your choice, but the musicianship that went on then was fantastic. And the 70s tended to be a little bit bubblegumish coming out of the 60s, and the 1990s, yeah, there was some good groups around, but I think an awful lot happened to music in the 80s, and it's still going on. I mean, you're still getting the bands going around, like Spandau Ballet are reforming, Level 42 are still doing it, Pet Shop Boys are still producing music. It was just a fantastic type of music, I think.
And where do you spread the word? Spread the gospel of the 1980s? Where do you spread it?
Well, there are local radio stations such as Gateway FM, which is applying for a community licence, and we do a lot of 80s stuff on there. That's over in Basildon. I also do some programming for a radio station over in Surrey, that's Redstone FM, and they have a very good 80s selection of music that we play. And of course the 1980s is featured a lot on the local radio stations like BBC Essex and Essex FM. And I think it's got such a, and as I say, the bands are still going around, they're still doing their thing in the local area, and you get a load of bands that are doing 1980s stuff.
Okay, Steve, so tell us a bit about Gateway FM and hopefully its development and growth.
Gateway FM is a company based over in Basildon. It's a not-for-profit organisation, and it also does a lot of charity work. I'm their local reporter. I come out and do fetes, fairs, and we sort of advertise what's going on in the local area. It's a great little system, and hopefully it is applying for a licence, and next time the licence come up we might get one.
And where can you find
Gateway FM is on gatewayfm.com on the web, and when it goes live in a few months' time, hopefully we'll be on 87.7.
And live for how long?
That will be live for three to 4 weeks, which is another temporary broadcast. We've done 3 or 4 so far, and they've gone down quite well in the local area. And it involves the local community and brings people into the local community, which is what it's all about. Because we've got to get Thurrock out there and tell people about the wonderful place that it is. Because Thurrock's had a lot of bad press in the past, but there's an awful lot going on here. I mean, the theatre, went out to the theatre last night and I went to see a chap who was in Spencer Davis, Andy A-Man Corner, sorry, Andy Fairweather Low. Very good musician, excellent musician. Played a lot of blues and reggae sort of stuff, and yeah, I liked it, it was great. Again, it's the local community and getting things involved, you know.
And you're a man in Thurrock who wears several hats. Can you tell us about your work with and explain Batias?
Batias is the Basildon and Thurrock Independent Advocacy Services. They go out and help people who are mentally mentally handicapped, really. And they give people a voice. If people are in dire straits and they need to speak to people and go through to local authorities or anybody in power, then Batias will actually go and give them an advocate. Advocacy is a great thing, and that's what we do at Batias. We are an advocacy company, and we are also a local charity. And
there are great plans for Batias.
Yes, there is a cafeteria opening up in Grays, I understand, which is going to be very good, and it'll be staffed by members of Batias and bringing them into the local community and hopefully giving them, something to do in the local area, which is great for people with learning difficulties.
And can you tell us a little bit about your own disability?
I have what they class as hydrocephalus, which is a blockage right in the centre of the brain, which puts pressure on my optic nerve, which is the reason I've become partially sighted. I've had it since 1966. It must have been there since the year dot, but it doesn't stop me doing things. I mean, I worked for a local radio station in Norwich for 16 years. I was their assistant to the head of music, and that's the way I really got involved with radio, and I loved it. It was great. I've got a very wide knowledge of music, and this is why I want to get involved with the station in Basildon more. I also do a programme when it goes live on Redstone FM, which is once every 2 or 3 months, another 80s show which goes out in Surrey, which was based at the RNIB College here in Redhill, which I enjoy very much.
So your principle is very much you get out there. You're a busy man.
You've got to get out there. It's no good sitting down and saying, "Oh, look at me, aren't I hard done by and different things." That doesn't help anybody. You've got to get out there and say to people, "I am here. This is what I do. This is what I am, and can you use me?" That's the way to be. You've got to be going forward and